Hello and welcome to Slammers Weekly. This is episode 9, maybe. I don't know which one we're on, but it's middle of the season here. We're starting to kick off summer. Memorial Day just happened. The spring swing is pretty much over. The Mid-Am's done. The Jersey 4-ball's done. A bunch of qualifying for summer events is going on now, so hopefully you did all right in the spring events, got into some stuff, played in some stuff, played all right. If not, you got the summer, hold out hope. Bo, I know you've had a pretty good spring. You got into some stuff, played really well at the 4-ball, played in some things. We're looking ahead to summer. What's on your calendar? What's going on? Where are you at? What's happening?
I'm down the shore for my last night. Tomorrow, I'm officially out of here. I'm back in Marlton, back in the home area.
Oh,
yeah,
shit.
so I won't have to drive 2 hours to qualifiers anymore, which will be nice.
Yep.
A week off after last Monday. The Mid-Am didn't play very well. Needed a break. It's been a week now. I'm ready to go. I'm rejuvenated. Like you said, we have this next swing up. Some qualifiers coming up. Got the Jersey M qualifier at Burlington, got the Jersey Open qualifier at Beacon Hill, Gap Open at Bellwood. So, yeah, a lot to unpack here.
That's awesome. I'm absolutely fired up to talk some golf. I am coming to you from Traverse City, Michigan today at the Great Northern Michigan some shit college. I don't know what it's called, but I'm using their Wi-Fi. Road trip's going great, blah, blah, blah. We'll talk more about it later. Right now, I want to get into some current events. You said you played in the Mid-Am on Monday. You had an interview with the winner, David Mecca. I guess start out by telling me kind of what you thought of scoring out there and conditions.
So I went into it blind, but I had notes from multiple people, and I felt like I was pretty prepared going into it, or at least as prepared as you could be without seeing the place. And I felt like I got a bit ambushed out there, to be honest with you. The greens were, I knew they were going to be tough. Everyone says they're tough. I knew they were going to be firm, but I had no idea like how you had to know exactly where to hit it. You just can't miss it in some spots. It's so penal if you miss it in the wrong spot around the green. I mean, you could be 120 yards out and, a pin's tucked right and you're thinking, oh, the miss is going to be left, right? Like, you don't want to go after this pin. It looks like a sucker pin and you hit it to the center of the green and you can't even two-putt the putt, right? It's just going to, if you miss the putt, it's just going to go off the green, like stuff like that. The greens are like potato chip-ish with false fronts. It's tough to get up and down. And I started off with some bogeys and then I started pressing a little bit and made some doubles. And next thing you know, I made over through 7 holes and I'm like, felt like I didn't really hit that many bad shots. And I'm like, what the fuck happened? Once I settled in, I played fine. I played like the last 11, 2 over once I kind of adjusted to the conditions, but it was just too late at that point. Mm-hmm. It was really tough. I mean, it was really, it was tough for everybody. You see the scores out there. You saw how high they were. It was kind of just like a hold-on kind of mindset.
Yeah, totally. I mean, David's 1 under in the second round was the best round of the tournament, so nobody was really lighting that place up.
Well, I just realized that was the only under par round of the whole tournament. Interesting.
Uh-huh.
And then there was only 2 even par rounds. So 3 rounds at par or better with, some of the best players in the section at a course that's, on paper, obviously from a yardage perspective, that doesn't always tell the full story, but short and, you think short course with good conditions, you're thinking, you can make some birdies, but a lot of defense going on out there.
Like you said, some of the best players in the section. There were some notable folks missing. I think Cole Wilcox wasn't there. I don't think I saw Mike Brown's name.
Brown was there. He just didn't play well.
Oh, he was?
Yeah, okay. But Troy missed it because of the 4-ball, and there was a few other guys, definitely notable names missing. But yeah, it was great talking to Dave. I mean, he that was his first kind of, I think, big win. At least he hasn't really been playing in the gap stuff much. So this is obviously his first gap win, and I think probably his biggest win to date. So if you haven't listened to that interview already, definitely check it out. There's some good stuff in there.
Check that out another time after you listen to this episode. So any standout performers, would you say, aside from, the winner, guys who really played well, you thought, that deserve a shout out, or anyone that needs to be fired up, good players that posted kind of a big number? Maybe one of each.
I mean, I guess the biggest surprise is Brown. I mean, he'd be the odds-on favorite going in if you were handicapping it. But I heard he pulled kind of like an all-nighter deal driving back from the 4-ball back in Kiowa. And I think he got some sleep in his car and went out there. I mean, that's tough for anybody, especially someone, close to 50. Right?
Yeah. I can't imagine doing that in 20 years or whatever that is. I mean, holy crap. That doesn't even work now.
Right. Yeah. I mean, the guys, I can't. If I slept, like when I sleep in my car, it's at least like you sleep in your car, right? You're living in your car. It's a mattress.
I live in my car, but there's a bed. Yeah.
Right.
A bed.
Right. If I sleep in mine, I have a tent. It's not like I'm sleeping in the front seat. I mean, that's brutal conditions.
Brutal.
So yeah, you got to give Mike a pass there. I mean, the guy showed a ton of heart to come back up here, and he still, had a top 25. So it's not like he, stunk up the joint, but not obviously to his highest level of play.
Sure.
I want to give a shout out to my guy, Dan Ayers. Dan's a Sacama guy, and we played him in the first round of the 4-ball. I was telling you, real nice guy. And he was playing in front of us that day, and him and I were equally chopping the place up. We both shot 44 on the front, and we were talking about it like he's like, we're just pathetic out here. And then he proceeded to play the remainder of the way 1 over for the next 27. So he got himself a nice top 20, got himself an exemption. I thought that showed a lot of heart because he looked like a beaten man when I saw him after that front 9.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love that.
We love a good story of, some perseverance. And those Sacama guys are tough, man. They don't fold up and pack up too quickly.
Yeah, I mean, when you got to cut your own greens and cook your own food. No, I'm just kidding. They don't do that. We learned they don't do that.
So they told me they did do that at some point. That has happened. They were talking to me. They're like, look, honestly, what you said really wasn't that far-fetched. Like, that stuff's happened, like, in the past. So, like, don't feel bad. But it was funny. It was funny for the actual event. I got paired with another Sacama guy. Lodi Van Totter. So I'm just getting paired up with I've never played with a Sacama guy in my life, and now everywhere I go, it's like a Sacama guy, and they're busting my balls. But yeah, it's good
awesome.
stuff.
Love it. All right, cool. Any other notes on the Mid-Am?
I think that's it. I think like I said, the conditions were really good, and I think Old York Road has some potential to be a good golf course. I think there's some good shots out there, but I think, unfortunately, the green complexes kind of damper things a bit. And overall, I kind of left not loving the place, but I'd like to get back out there one day and now knowing it a little bit better and see if I can warm up to it a bit. I'll say one more thing. I was talking to Troy, and Troy said his first 6 times out there, he didn't break 78.
For a good player like him, that's kind of crazy. In its present state, as you played it on Monday, give it a grade as a Mid-Am venue.
I'd say glass half full, B-, glass half empty, C+.
Okay.
I'll leave it at that. I think that's fair. I do.
All right. We'll take it. I'm glad I got something out of you. So that was the only big event, I think, at least this past week since we last talked. However, there have been a couple qualifiers. There's one for the Jersey Mid-Am this week at Cobblestone Creek, formerly known as Green Acres, a former employer of mine and home course of the Ryder Bronx. The cut out there was +5, 75. Any reflections or word on that from anything you heard?
I got to give a shout out to the guy who medaled, Brandon Roach. He's a friend of mine, and the longest guy you'll ever play with. I mean, he really is just like not even exaggerating. I'm not one to really hype up yardages and like, oh, you got to see this guy, but Yeah, he's just too long. Like he can't. It's just he. I can't. I actually can't. He said he just hit three. I was reading the article. He said he just hit 3 irons off the tees out there.
Makes sense.
I played in front of him at a qualifier in Burlington a few years ago, and it was so fun to watch. It's like the best guy to have behind you because I just wanted to see where he was on every hole. I'm like, oh, he got me by 60 there. He got me by 70 here. Like literally, like he's like I'm having like, you know, the 7th hole there is like 470. I got like 195 in. He's at the 100-yard mark. But then I'd watch him and he would airmail a green by like 15 yards from 100 yards out. It was like, and he's like sticking the finish, right? I'm like, Jesus, Brandon, what are you doing out here? But it was good to see him play well. Not really too many notes from that place. I guess the number seems about right. +4, +5. I mean, it seems a little on the higher end, but we also haven't played it since they made the changes. So hard to really say there.
I would really like to hear from, if anyone who was listening had played it before, you know, when it was Green Acres and played it now. Tweet at us, hit us up on Instagram, Facebook, wherever. I want to know what the deal is with that place. I've got no words from anyone that has heard anything about it, and I would like to know.
Bobby Weed.
See what he did with that place. There wasn't. I'll give him a pass if it's still bad because I don't know what you really could have done with that place. I mean, ideally cut down a bunch of trees, I guess, but I don't know.
Yeah, it's only going to do so much. Small property, not a whole lot of undulation.
You got to expand some of those greens or soften them or a little bit or something. I mean, they were just insane.
Yeah.
Not many good holes out there. All right. Philly Am qualifier this week at Mazellum Springs. The cut was 4 over. I have a fondness for that place, but that is irrelevant to this qualifier. What did you hear about the day out there?
That place, yeah, I agree with you. I think for a qualifier, it's awesome. And it's funny because they had it on the same day as the first round of the GAT Mid-Am. So you're thinking for the guys that sign up for that, you're like, well, I kind of game the system here, right? Like all the good players are playing in the Mid-Am, or a lot of the good players are playing in the Mid-Am. So the numbers are going to be high out here. But the number, like you said, was +4, and they played it like fairly tipped out, which really surprised me. That's a good score out there, right? Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, one guy broke par. I was looking. I'm pulling it up now. I was looking at the scoring averages per hole, and you know that 14th hole out there, the one with just the crazy green, the one that has the green that's like super narrow, and the par 4 up the hill, the one that has the green that's like super narrow and just kind of like perched up on the hill to the right before the par 3.
Yeah. It's just absurdly back to front. Like if you have a downhill putt, you're not keeping it on the green.
Yeah, exactly. And that hole is just so hard. Like I don't know when you played that tournament out there, what tee they played it from. But I think I played it from, I think there's a tee that's like closer to 460. I may have played it at like 420. And they actually put it all the way up to 390, which makes sense because, you know, it's just such a clogged up hole for pace of play. And it was still the hardest hole at 390, like 80 yards pushed up. That's how insane that green is.
That's crazy. Yeah, I don't know why. Probably remembering it as a par 5, maybe because we played it pretty long. But yeah, that.
Oh no, you're thinking of the par 5. That's 12.
Oh.
And then 13's the 3, that really tough 3 afterwards, and then 14's the 4 that like has those weird trees on the right.
Oh, along the side of the hill. Yeah, the entire hole's bad.
Horrible. Yeah, it's one of the only holes out there that needs a complete. Yeah, it needs to be reshaped and almost regraded on the right, and then the green needs to be completely redone, re-angled, contoured. It's just it's a mess.
Yeah. And then there's a par 3. Yeah. That gotcha.
But isn't that crazy that still played the hardest hole at 390?
It really is. I mean, it almost makes sense because you can kind of, if you're trying to push driver up there, it's going to get you into trouble, right? And I don't know if everyone knows that or what. Yeah, because doesn't the fairway run out?
It does. Yeah. I mean, I don't think that's the issue, though. I don't think the drive. I mean, maybe it was, but I think it was more just that green's just so nuts. No matter what you have into it, it's like, what do I got to do here, right? There's just not a whole lot of, just not a whole lot you can do.
Sweet property though.
It is. That
And
place,
a bunch of good
that
holes.
place has so much potential. I remember when I played out there 3 years ago, they were saying that it was for sale, and I want to say it was like a low number, like or either it just got sold or it was for sale, one or the other, and it was like $3 million, I want to say. And I'm like, man, this just seems like such a, like if you have money, like you pull the trigger on this place. And that place, I think, if you had unlimited budget and did the right things to it, you could build a top 200 course on that property.
The land's perfect. You couldn't ask for a better property. It has just the right amount of undulations, and the soil's probably not great. It's probably that rocky bullshit Pennsylvania soil, but they do a good job with the conditioning out there. They figured it out.
Yeah, over the years, just injecting some sand in there. Yeah, but the last thing on that, I'll shout out a guy at our club, Chris Lawler, played well on that. I'm looking at that now. He shot even par. He was came in second in that. So good to see. He's got some kids at home and hasn't been playing as much, but good player. Good to see him back out on the circuit. And hopefully he plays well in the actual event.
Awesome. Cool. Well, that is that qualifier. I think that kind of clears up recent events. I guess we can get into just a couple of housekeeping items. So for all of our listeners who like playing in this stuff, the Gap Open qualifiers close in just a couple days, June 5th. And even sooner coming up is the Jersey Open. Qualifiers close June 1st. There's still a couple spots left in both of those. And then USGA events are open as well. Bo, you want to take that one?
I couldn't believe it. I went to sign up last week for the 4-ball, the Mid-Am, and the Am. And the Mid-Am is essentially basically booked throughout the country outside of just crazy remote locations. I actually ended up signing up for one in West Virginia, which is crazy.
No way. You're going to go to West Virginia?
Yeah, I mean, I'll make a trip out of it. I'll play at least one other course or whatever. And yeah, it's in August when I like to get away from here anyway. So maybe you'll be in the mountains. It'll be a little cooler. But the course looks absolutely frightful. I mean, it looks like I'm pretty sure like it's almost like looking at the flyover. Like it's like a deja vu moment. They have a nice hole by hole in there, and it's like I think I've had nightmares about this course before, even though I've never seen it. It's a nightmarish golf course. Like you just can't. The worst vibes of a course I think I've ever seen. Like you almost got to take a look at the flyovers of this place. The conditions. I'm going to draw a blank on it. I'll have to look it up, but it's not a memorable name. Something Hills, Holston Hills, I think it might have been.
That's a good course in Tennessee.
Oh, yeah, that's the one I played in Tennessee. That's the Donald Ross. Yeah, I'm getting confused with that. Similar to that, though.
Did you play that one, too?
I did play that one, yeah.
Holston's awesome, isn't it?
It is. Yeah, it's a very charming place.
It is a charming place. It could use some renovations in some places, but the members are, like, excessively proud of the fact that it's, like, untampered with, I think. Right?
Yeah. No, it definitely can use some bunker work and definitely some new tee boxes. Interestingly enough, those were some of the most benign raw screens I've ever played, and the property's pretty flat too. So there wasn't a ton on the greens there.
Yeah, he might have had instructions to like make it a little easier, members course kind of thing. I don't know. Anyway, we digress. Did you find that West Virginia one?
I got stuck on Bing, and Bing is just horrible. Now I'm going transferring to Google. I mean, what is up with that? They just can't figure that out, Microsoft, huh? I don't get it.
It's bad.
Doesn't seem to improve either. It's just awful. I'm still looking for it. Right. But anyway, either way, Mid-Am, you're going to have to travel somewhere. There's nowhere close that has any spots left. Even the wait lists are jammed up. And then for the Am, similar. There's some waitlist spots open, but most of the courses around here are full. And then you got the 4-ball, which, again, Indian Valley's full. Maybe some spots on the waitlist. So the USGA stuff filled up really quickly this year. So if you haven't already signed up, get on it because you might not even be able to get out to anywhere if you wait another month.
I feel like this happens to me every year.
I get the USM, that's like in a month, but The mid-am's in like 2.5 months. The four ball's in like 3 to 4 months, depending on where you're qualifying.
And the event's not even till next year.
Yeah, to be completely full, I mean, there's no doubt the demand's up. I actually spoke to a guy from the USGA, and I asked him, I'm like, are you guys going to add any more sites? Like, it's at Sleepy Hollow this year. And I felt like usually when you have it, in an area, you usually add at least 1 or 2 more qualifiers to that area because there's going to be more demand. And they didn't do that really. It's kind of the same old, like, one in Jersey, one in the Philly area, and then, kind of thing. And it's just the stuff's jammed up. And he said they're not going to add any more qualifying sites. So there you have it.
That is discouraging.
Yeah, it really is.
Well, they've got some time to reconsider, even though it doesn't sound like they will. The MGA, the Met, also has a couple events. The spots are filling fast. The deadlines are not fast approaching. The AM closes on June 28th, and the Open closes on July 19th, but they could fill up soon. Looks like they're getting close. The AM is at Friars Head, and the Open's at Arcola. So both incredible venues. Bo, I know you're signed up for those because, God, it would be so cool to play in an event at either of those places. Haven't played Friars Head, but you and I played Arcola together, and it's not a stretch to say those are maybe the best greens you or I have ever played, just pretty much in terms of speed and trueness. So if you like that, that's a fun place. Anything else on Friars Head or Arcola?
Yeah, it would just be nice to snag a spot there. Obviously, no ambitions of competing in either of those events, but just to be able to be a field filler in that would be a blessing.
Totally. That's all a slammer can really hope for.
Yeah, we're realistic, right? The Met Open, that's like one of the only, even though I've gotten more consistent, that's the one event that you can embarrass yourself. Like if you shoot 80, it's embarrassing, right? Like the field is so strong. Like it's just like the guys that we think are good as like amateurs that we're like, oh, he's a good player, he's a +2 or 3, like they have no chance at winning, right? It's like,
why are those fields so strong? I guess they attract like Jersey, New York, and Connecticut, and like just a bunch of regions, or?
Yeah, I mean, guys come back in town too. I mean, I know it hasn't happened in the last few years, but I remember, I want to say like 6 years ago, maybe, Morgan Hoffman, the year before, I think he made it to the Tour Finals one year, or maybe one leg short of it. I remember he had a really good showing at Ridgewood. And then I want to say it was the next year after he comes back and plays in the Met Open. They get him, I think, out of Arcola. They said, whatever. He's associated with Arcola. I don't even think he came in the top 10. I think he came in like 12th or something. It was like, that's how strong those fields are. Like you get a guy like he was on tour that year. He missed the playoffs. He comes back and plays in the Met Open and doesn't even really compete. So yeah, another level.
That's insane. Defending champ is our guy Ryan Siegler. So he comes back to the area to play in that. I assume he will this year, but he's not around all the time either. I mean, he's all around the world playing golf. So
well, it's a good purse too. Like I think I want to say it's like a 40 or 50 grand to the winner, something like that. So obviously worth it for a guy. These lower level mini tour guys that come back and take a stab at that.
Yeah, you could start to put a dent in your expenses with that.
For sure.
Not like the old Vermont Open, which I played in last year. I think the purse is 15. Not very big.
You win that, you're not tempted to give up your amateur status, right, for $1,500, but for 40 grand you might be.
Yeah, you're not. You're like, all right, I'll take the 600 and shop. I'm good.
Well, I guess speaking of tournaments, we'll move on to, you got the big Greater, what is it? The Lansing, what's the name of that tournament?
Yeah, Greater Lansing Golf Association, the GLGA. Is that right? Yeah, GLGA.
You got that coming up, what, next week?
Yeah, that is this coming weekend. 30 or 18 Saturday to seed for match play, and then you go right into it in the afternoon. And then if you keep advancing, you play potentially 2 more rounds on Sunday. So just bang it out all weekend long. So hopefully I'm playing on Sunday and hopefully Sunday afternoon.
I hate to put undue pressure on the guy, but dude, you better play well. I mean, you're playing more golf than anybody in the world right now. I mean, you're playing like 36 holes a day.
Yeah, it's kind of absurd. I did take the last 2 days off, which was nice. I didn't play, today or yesterday, but 36 tomorrow, and then it'll keep going from there. But no, it's true. It doesn't mean my swing's any good. I'm all this driving has really got me pretty immobile. I mean, my stock 6-iron is like 168. It's not very good.
The guy's not getting back to parallel, huh? The shoulders are tight, and you're not doing any yoga? No stretching?
I'm doing a lot of stretching, not any yoga, but a ton of stretching. I'm into all the physio yoga stuff, so I'm like using the rollers and the balls, and I'm doing as much as I can. I feel like I'm doing all right, but just the speed is down, the mobility's down.
And for a guy who doesn't have like a ton of speed to give up, like the mile per hour, like there's not.
No, I got nothing to give up. I was average at best beforehand.
So you're just kind of bunting it around a little right now?
You could say that. I mean, to the uneducated, it looks like I'm, squaring it up pretty good. And there's not a ton of curve on the ball, which is, I'm hitting it pretty straight, and there's no big misses in the game. I got that soft pull in the slice.
Okay.
So, the dispersion isn't huge. But we'll see what happens. That's enough about my game.
The last thing I'll add is, I mean, it just kind of goes to show how weak the swing is right now. To say like a soft pull is, it's kind of an oxymoron, right? I mean, there's nobody with any speed that has a soft pull in their game. When's the last time you heard anybody with 120 mile an hour club head speed say that?
That's never happened.
Oh, man, that's a shame. Well, hopefully it's a short and tight course, and you can bun it around and compete out there.
I think it is. It looks really bad from the website. Just like the green areas are really tiny. Just you got to miss in the right spots and get up and down, which is usually my game plan on any course. So if that's the play there, that might work out pretty good. All right, looking ahead, we got Jersey Am qualifier at Burlington, your old home course. You say there's not too much to look out for there, just all right in front of you, but anything you'd add?
They took a bunch of trees out and they just redid the bunkers. I've heard that around the greens and around the bunkers, they sodded some areas, seeded some areas, so in both of those areas you can get some squirrely lies. Seems like there's even going to be more of an onus to hit the greens there. They rerouted the back 9 too, which was interesting. It now goes 10, 17, 16, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, which I think definitely changes things a bit down the stretch. I mean, 14 and 15 are definitely harder as like your 16th and 17th. Versus your 14th and 15th, in my opinion. But yeah, either way, Burlington's out in front of you. I feel like almost everybody's played there at some point. They have qualifiers every year. So just some minor changes out there, but the bones are still there. It's there's nothing out there to really, noteworthy that's that different.
Burlington is Ross.
Burlington, they've gone back and forth. I think they've narrowed it down to Alex Finlay. Or Finlay.
He was like a local professional golfer at the time, right?
I don't know much about him other than that the courses I've played at his are very average at best. I mean, he wasn't a very prolific architect.
He did a handful of courses.
Yeah, he did. No, he did. I think he did Tavistock in the area as well, which is a bit better than Burlington, but still not like, it's not going to value.
And yeah, there's something in the northeast of his. I can't think of what it is, but.
Anyway. But yeah, it's a basic course.
All right. Hit it good. Make some putts. There was a PGA Pro Philly section tourney today with 150 grand to the winner, 5 grand to second place. Is that insane? Did you ever think there would be that much money in PGA section professional golf?
That tournament's been going on for a while. I think it was 100 grand for a while, and then they've recently bumped the purse to 150, I guess, with inflation adjustment here. It's an insane event. I mean, you get a bunch of guys, and a lot of them are assistants who are making no money, right? Mm-hmm. They're making, just starting off their careers and things like that. And they might be playing for 3 times their salary, right? So it's kind of like anybody in the world, if you took whatever, it's all relative. You say, hey, one 18-hole event and you're playing for 3 times your salary or whatever. That's it's crazy.
That's an insane amount of pressure.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny how it's an insane amount of pressure and you're like, oh, it's stupid. It's one round. Anything can happen. But because of it's not really. Every year, one of the best players wins, right? It's not like some guy just had a fluke and made every putt. That's just with 150 grand on the line, it just doesn't seem to ever happen.
Yeah. Somebody good always wins.
Yeah. Right. This year, it went to a playoff this year, which is crazy. It's just the difference in purse. It's one thing if it's even the PGA Tour, it's all right, if I win this playoff, I win, 1.5. If I lose, I win 800 grand. It's all right, whatever. It's not that big of a drop off. This is I make 150 grand or I get a $3,000 check after taxes. Right. It's, so I feel for the guy that lost in that today. I mean, that's got to sting a bit. But Brian Bergstall won, who's definitely a top 3 pro in the area. You can argue that he's the best, but
where's he out of?
He was out of, I think, Shawnee for a minute. I don't. I sent you that link. I'm gonna check real quick.
Pull that up again.
I'm actually curious. He's at he's still at Shawnee. Okay. Yeah, the Shawnee Inn and Golf Resort. He must have a good gig there.
It's a beautiful property. I've driven by it a bunch of times. I went and putted at their putting green once.
I think it's a Tillinghast, I believe.
Really?
Pretty sure. Yeah, pretty sure it's a Tilly.
Nice.
Well, I've never been out there. But anyways, congrats to Brian. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's dope. That is huge. Okay. Let's see here. Okay, so I want to talk about a couple things that I've been seeing and I'm going to see. Just first thing right on top of my mind, I'm playing an Arthur Hills course tomorrow, the Bay Harbor Resort course up in Petoskey, Michigan. And I'm also playing Belvedere in the morning, which would be cool. Actually, both of these guys deserve a little love, but especially the Bay Harbor Resort golf course architect, Arthur Hills. We were looking earlier at the list of courses he's done. It's in the hundreds, and none of them have any real acclaim. But they're not bad.
It's like he just middled that. He's just right down the line of just good enough to get work, but just can't get over the hump to put anything out there that was anyone's gonna really be impressed by. It's almost, it's hard to do that with anything in life, right? To be successful, but just have nothing. I'm trying to think of a good comparison, but it's like the journeyman quarterback, I guess, or something like that. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it's crazy. I guess this really proves the point, but we played a course of his in the fall, of which the name I cannot remember.
Heritage Shores. I actually remember that one. Delaware.
Nice.
Yeah,
Heritage
Delaware.
Shores. That's a forgettable name.
Mm-hmm. But I thought he did a nice job out there at Heritage for the property it was on.
Yeah, the land was super boring.
Horrible land. One of the flattest piece of properties I've ever played on.
And there were some really, really thought-provoking greens out there.
Mm-hmm. Good angles.
That green on the par five, I think it was like maybe the third hole,
Second
something
hole.
like that.
Yeah.
Second hole.
Yep.
The cool runoff areas.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, art's not bad. Anyway, shout out Art Hills.
The late Art. I think he died recently, a couple years ago. But yeah,
The late Art.
Yeah, he left a lot of courses out there to explore.
Well, if you're lucky enough to play an art course, know that it will be decent, somewhere between decent and solid. Okay. Another thing I just gotta say, get off my chest here. I really came in fired up to get this off my chest, and it's been building the whole time. But I've been seeing a bunch of really great, incredible golden age architecture on this course. I mean, I've been spoiled rotten. I've seen like 3 Donald Ross courses, 1 Rayner, 1 Colt McKenzie and Allison, a couple Hurston and Fry, which are newer guys, but they're very good, and I enjoyed their courses. But anyway, the point is all the Golden Age stuff. And these guys just had it down. They were just so darn good. They were good on, rolling properties or flat properties, and it was just simple and straightforward. And I'm out of patience for just the bullshit of modern golf architecture. I don't understand why everyone's trying to reinvent the wheel here, and we can't just kind of like look at the courses that have been built before and just make them simple and straightforward. I don't know. And I really am running out of patience because I've played a couple foresty type courses here in Michigan where, they have to like clear cut forests to build these courses. Like thousands of trees have got to come out of the ground, which I'm whatever, maybe a little bit of a hippie environmentalist, and I care about that stuff more than most people, and I'm always down for taking down trees on golf courses, especially when it needs to be done. Old trees that are, past their lifespan and they're not serving the course anymore. Take them out. Fuck it. I don't care. But when we have to clear cut a whole forest, to build trees, the course better be really good. And I've played a few that are just not really good. And every hole's like out there by itself, and each hole is like a whole forest that got clear cut in itself just to build a single hole. I don't know. I'm tired of seeing these courses that just are not great, and at the expense of the land and expense of tons of dollars and effort of, tons of people involved.
Who's really got you pissed off? What architects?
I don't really want to call anyone out, and I think some of the guys whose courses I've seen recently do have good work out there. But the few that I've seen just kind of bugged me.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, when you take a plot of land with all those trees, you essentially have a blank canvas. So there's really assuming there's no environmental issues.
That's what I'm saying.
It just doesn't make any sense. It's one thing when you play one of these landlocked North Jersey courses where they're cramming these in between the parkway and neighborhoods, and you're like, I get it. Like you're going to have some bad holes. Or up in the Poconos when you got old AW out there just like walking these mountains and building courses with mules. It's like, there's gonna be some blind shots.
Right.
Like it's
totally.
But these modern day guys, like you said, the forefathers laid out the principles of design. Like it is what it is. Like no matter what, there's no. I mean, it's almost been probably written in stone since probably the 30s, right? Or 40s, you would say.
Yeah, it was done being figured out by the 30s.
Right. Probably even pretty much before then too, I guess, but it's hard to really pinpoint.
Definitely.
But, yeah, I mean, it was back to the old, starting at old Tommy Morris and all those guys. But yeah, no, and then you get, it just doesn't, I'm with you. I don't get it. I hope we never see a guy like Pete Dye have success again, to be honest with you. I have nothing personal against Pete, but I just don't like his golf courses. I'm kind of glad that Fazio's career is winding up. I mean, he puts out some good courses and some good holes. He's certainly not terrible, but that style of golf isn't really the direction I want to see the game go. I love the Core Crenshaw direction. I love everyday playable courses that are walkable. Then the firmer and faster you get them, they're even more fun and even sometimes even more playable. And, obviously love, some of the stuff that Doak's done. And we got guys like Tyler out there doing some great restoration work. So I think we're in good hands going forward. I hope this trend continues because I'm with you.
Yeah. Thank goodness. I mean, yeah, I feel like a lot of the dark ages architects are getting phased out, which is great. But we're gonna have to name all of them this episode, but we can't.
You feel better now?
I feel good. I had to get that off my chest. I think it was a good point you made about Tyler and Andrew Green and a bunch of these guys who were restoring classic golden age courses and doing a great job. I've played a couple that Ron Pritchard restored 20 years ago or something like that, or somewhere in that window of 25 to 15 years ago, and seeing those restorations kind of fully grown in with that kind of injected character of classic Ross, really done in a good way is like, it's so cool. It's been so cool to see kind of the different kind of flavors that all these Ross courses have, depending on when they were restored and how much the grass has grown in and all that. But anyway, cool stuff to think about. It's been great. And there's no excuse for building bad golf courses because the blueprint has existed forever. So my patience is running out on that. And that is basically what I wanted to communicate.
Well, hopefully you don't run into too many more bad courses on your journey. What else do you have up?
So I got those two I mentioned, and then that city course that the match plays at this weekend is going to be a dump, but I'm not worried about that then. I am just going to be in competition mode. And then after that, I just got, I'm actually going to play the University of Michigan course, which is a Mackenzie.
Alistair?
Yeah.
Really? I didn't know he did that. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't do much work out this way, right? I mean, I know he did Crystal Downs up in Michigan,
which I thought about rolling up on today, but I didn't. But yeah, Crystal Downs, and then I guess not a ton. His courses are few and far between.
Mm-hmm.
But he did do that one. So it'll be fun. I have a friend who's an alumni, so we're gonna play. And that'll be cool. And then I got Oakland Hills, and that's really it. And then after that, I'm hiking and be in Vermont.
Awesome. Well, I'm looking forward to hear about Oakland Hills. That looks like a good one. That's Andrew Green, right? Didn't he clean that up?
I believe so. That sounds right.
It's a Ross, right?
Double checking. Yeah, it's a Ross. Don't see anything about the restoration.
Pretty sure Green did it, but I could be wrong.
Well, it's been a lot of golf. I take them one day at a time. But I'll get back to you on that in a future episode. Anything else to add for this week?
Nope, I got nothing else.
Cool. Well, good luck getting back into golf. I'm sure the break has been nice and your golf energy will be renewed and full going forwards. For everyone playing in events coming up soon, good luck. Thanks for listening. Hit us up. This is Slammers Weekly. Thanks so much for listening.